Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Jessica. I'm gonna have an immersive English learning channel. Let's practice speaking English with me. Let's go. Off top of my mind is a film character, Andy, a leading role in a very classic movie, Shawshank Redemption, which was initially released in the year 1996. Tim Robbins played this role and who is one of my favorite actors, also a Academy Award winner, has as crazy acting skills and created so many classic figures. And while in terms of this classic movie, Shawshank Redemption, it was so regretfully that it did not win the Academy Award in that year. It's still regarded as one of the best movies. It had got rave review on Rotten Tomatoes. And thus I like to talk about the leading role, Andy, who was a successful banker. But the court wronged him as he was accused of murdering his wife and her lover. Since then, he was condemned into the life sentence and he was sent into the Shawshank prison. But as a well-educated professional, he was totally different from another prisoners. That he stand out and easily become a target of being bullied. Thus, he had a really tough time initially. As a smart man, he sat on his hands as he knew the importance of observing, and gradually he was befriended by a smuggler who was also being convicted into the life sentence. And with this man's help, he procured a hammer as well as the poster, which would play an important role in his prison escape plan. Once he heard Warren complain about the attacks on heritage, thus he voluntarily offered help to mitigate attacks for him legally. And since then, he became famous. He made a figure in the prison, and since then he made good use of his financial expertise to provide help to a lot of prisoners as well as those guards. And even the guards from another jail come all the way here, to ask for his financial advice. And gradually he was noticed by the top warden. The warden asked him to involve in his business and help to him launder the money. And also the warden offered him a way more relaxing job in library, and his life gradually became better. And he also helped a lot of prisoners, help them to gain qualification, help them to pass the exam. And during this process he came across a new prisoner who taught him a really important information which can even prove him innocent. He was so excited he asked the warden to help him. However, the warden refused as he thought Andy has been deeply involved in his business. He didn't want Andy to go. And instead, he gave Andy severe punishment and put him in a black room for 1 month. And since then, Andy looked so frustrated. But actually, Andy had a second plan and he decided to resort to the last straw. He had made this prison escape plan 19 years ago. He used a hammer to dig a tunnel which would connect to the pipe drainage system in the prison. And he used a poster to hide this tunnel in his cell, and he just hide this hammer in his Bible. That is the reason that no guard even noticed that. And during the thunder night, he crawled through the tunnel and got out to set himself free. And since then, he started a new life again. He even just got all those evidence of money laundering with him, and anonymously he sent all those evidence to the legislature. That is the story. I admire this character because of the following reasons. Well, firstly, Andy is upright and decent man. He always tries to help others, especially those poor people. He helped those prisoners to pass the exam and taught them some skills which would allow those prisoners to live on their own when they got paroled. Tried his best, to support all those prisoners, to figure out ways to adapt to life outside the prison and to avoid being institutionalized. And at the risk of being punished, he just played music as speaker to inspire all those prisoners. He even wrote letters to the state legislature, to request for the fund for improve the library. He always tried to support others and in return help himself. And he felt like it was a process of redemption for himself, as he always felt sorry at the beginning when he even got the thought of killing his wife and her lover. Even though he did not, his heart is always in the right place. Secondly, I found that he is pretty innocent. He was pretty intelligent, wise, calm, perseverant, persistent, courageous, which allowed him to make a better life even in the most complex circumstances. Well, you say that when he was in the prison, when he was surrounded by the whole world, he still can find a way of living. He will excel his potential to do business, to have water and develop his business. He is not only to save himself, but also to save a lot of prisoners in the jail. When he realized that he could not rely on the legal channel to get out of the prison, he directly resorted to the second plan that he had already planned years ago. And finally, he got out of the prison. And he also brought hope to the other prisoners as well. And he would always make out of difficulties and thrive, no matter what incurs. This just inspires me. I feel like you should never give up hope, even in the most desperate circumstance. So that is also my takeaway and the reason why I admire this role. That's all. Thank you. Well, to be honest with you, I feel like majority of those actors and actresses are quite interested in their work because I think that being an actor's actress is not an easy job. Being an actor or actress working in entertainment industry is an orthodox career path. It is not something that normal people would do. So for majority of those normal people, we would be a teacher, a salesman, doctor, lawyer, accountant, or banker, which are normal works which would like the work that majority of us would prefer to rely on, to make a living. But actors, actresses are not that kind of normal jobs that we could normally see in our surroundings, that we could normally see around us. So I believe that either you have very exquisite acting skills, you are talented in acting, or you are enthusiastic about that. Otherwise, you cannot throw yourself into this career. So I think if you could be able to be an actor's actress, that means that you are way more satisfied with your work. This kind of a career path just requires you to have a strong enthusiastic attitudes or you have such talents in doing so. So if you have both enthusiasm and talents, definitely you're gonna enjoy doing this work. Probably the first reason I believe that majority of those actors and actresses are quite satisfied with this job. And normally being actors, actress means that you are more likely to become famous. Famous also can bring you both fame and fortune. Just look at all those famous actors, actors that they normally live in those fancy mansions. They have assistants and bodyguards around them. They can always sit in those luxury cars, even have their private jets. They can go to different cities and to experience different types of life. All the spotlight would be on them. All the applause would be given to them. So normally majority of them would feel so happy and so satisfied with their work. While being actors and actresses means that you can experience different type of life. That is something quite interesting. You could be a prince or princess living in those castles. You could be a soldier that fighting in the war. You could even have a romantic relationship with those beautiful ladies or all those handsome men. This is a great experience that you could never had if you are doing a normal job. So I feel like actors, actresses are quite interested in doing their work. On the other hand, however, sometimes I know that their work can be pretty hard. Especially sometimes they have to work in very difficult circumstances with a really bad physical condition. Sometimes they have to wear very thin clothes to work with a minus degree. Sometimes they have to hold breath under the water even though they are afraid of swimming. Sometimes they have to climb up to the cliff and jump from the cliff. Sometimes they have to know how to ride a horse even though they don't know how to harness those animals. They have to play with those snakes or reptile animals even though they look so frightening. Sometimes in the scorching summertime, they still have to wear those thick clothes instead. They have to do those things that I think is not something that's pretty easy to do. Even those famous actors such as the Tom Cruise, I've heard that recently, that he had to take the risk of riding the motorbike to fly from a pretty high cliff. That was outrageously dangerous, but he had to do that. Even he has been so famous and he has been like 65 years old. And also sometimes, they have to play the same scene repetitively until the director say yes to them. They even had to replay the same scene for like maybe 40 times in a row until the midnight. You see, their work is like really physical demanding, so probably sometimes it is not an easy job for them to deal with, especially those actors actresses who always play those insignificant roles or they cannot even find a work. So I always believe that every coins have two sides. So you can see that for majority of actors actresses that they'll be so content with their career if they choose that, but on the other hand, sometimes they have to still face some real problems, such as the working conditions, such as they can't find a job, etc. That is my answer. That's all. Well, it is really hard to say. At least I know that professional means that definitely you are as crazy in doing something. Professional means that definitely you are quite skilled at doing this. Otherwise, you cannot be called a professional. So at least I feel like if you could be able to hone your skills in doing anything, it will be a really good career path. That means that you have the interest in doing that. You have the enthusiasm in doing that. That's good. But then again, let's getting back to this unorthodox acting career path. Definitely, it is not a kind of a normal job that everyone can choose. Normally, if as a normal people would prefer, to choose a way more normal work, such as being a teacher, being a banker, accountant, a lawyer, doctor, or something like that. Because if you are doing this kind of a work, even though you cannot make a fortune, cannot be a billionaire, you still could be able, to live on it. You can bring home the bread and butter, and you can still have a relatively good social status. You will be recognized by normal people. But being an actor or actress means that either you are super rich or you are pretty poor. You cannot even find jobs, or you can make a fortune. It is more polarized. Also, being an actor, actress sometimes have a high requirement. Either you are talented in doing that, you are gifted in being an actor or actress, otherwise you have resources. I mean that it's not something that majority of us will be able to do, because you have to just put yourself into the role. You have to sympathize with this role. If the director wants you to cry, you have to cry immediately. If the director wants you to fall in love with the strangers that stand in front of you, you have to do so. And especially there are a lot of cameras facing you, all the spotlight will be on you. You have to put yourself into the role, you have to empathize with this role. It is really hard, unless you are quite talented in doing so. Otherwise, it's better for you to give it up. And also, this is kind of work that requires patience, because there are a lot of famous actors, actresses, they start from scratch. They have to play some insignificant roles from one play to another play. They have to wait for years until getting a good opportunity. And during those years of playing those insignificant roles, sometimes it's hard for you to make a living, and your work is not be recognized by the society as well, and you cannot get all those respects from people around you. It's pretty hard. Let alone nowadays, it is like a way more competitive industry as well, because there are only limited opportunities lying there, but there are a lot of young people scrambling for it. Everyone knows that if you become famous, it can bring you both fame and fortune. Even those shining idols and models even want to have a finger in a pie, and even you have really crazy acting skills, or you have so many working experiences in this area, you still have to scramble with a round of those newcomers who had a more beautiful face and more rich backups. It is hard for those people who work in this industry to make a finger. However, if you are quite interested in doing this work, I think that definitely at least you could give it a try. But for majority of us, if you don't have talents or you don't have resources, I don't think being a professional actor actress would be a good career. Alright, this is the end of my video. If you like my video, please thumb up. If you have any comments or questions, you are really welcome to leave a message. If you want to get to know more about the IELTS speaking part, just follow me and ring the bell. You will not miss my updates. Thank you. Bye.